Stephanie Land's story begins with a dream that many of us can relate to, the desire to start over and build a meaningful life. In her late 20s, Stephanie moved to a small seaside town in Washington. She didn't plan to stay there forever. Her heart was set on Missoula, Montana, where she hoped to attend university and become a writer. She loved the way authors described the big sky country, and she was willing to work hard to get there. To save money, she worked several low-wage jobs at cafes and markets. During this time, she met a man named Jamie. They shared a love for books and a plan to move away together. However, life rarely goes exactly according to plan. Just after her 28th birthday, Stephanie discovered she was pregnant. This moment changed everything. While Stephanie was excited about the idea of being a mother, Jamie was not. He became angry and abusive. For a while, Stephanie stayed, hoping to give her daughter, Mia, a father and a stable home. But as the abuse worsened, she realized that staying was more dangerous than leaving. With a 7-month-old baby in her arms, Stephanie walked away with almost nothing. This was the start of her descent into a level of poverty that most people only see from a distance. She tried staying with her father, but his own financial struggles and a tense household made it impossible. Eventually, she found herself in a homeless shelter. Living in a shelter was a wake-up call. It wasn't just about having a roof over her head, it was about losing her privacy and her dignity. Every move she made was watched. She had to follow strict rules, attend condescending classes on how to save money, and prove her poverty over and over again to various government offices. At Winkist, we believe stories like this show the hidden side of the American dream. Stephanie felt like she was being punished for being poor. When she used food stamps at the grocery store, she felt what she called a bag of shame. She could feel the judgment of the people behind her in line. Even friends made snide comments, implying that their tax dollars were the only reason she could feed her child. To support Mia, Stephanie took a job as a maid for a cleaning company. The work was grueling. She was paid minimum wage, which at the time was only $8.55 an hour. On top of the low pay, she had to drive her own car to various houses without being paid for her travel time or gas. Often, a third of her paycheck went straight back into her gas tank. The work itself was physically exhausting and often disgusting. She spent her days scrubbing toilets, removing mold from ceilings, and picking up after people who didn't even know her name. She became invisible. To her clients, she was just a ghost who made the mess disappear. The physical toll was heavy. Because she earned slightly too much to qualify for government health care, but too little to buy her own, she couldn't afford a doctor. She suffered from chronic back pain, sinus infections from cleaning chemicals, and constant exhaustion. Her only relief was taking high doses of ibuprofen just to get through the day. There were no sick days. If she didn't work, she didn't get paid, and if she didn't get paid, she and Mia couldn't eat. This pressure created a constant state of anxiety. She felt she had to work every second of every day to prove she wasn't the lazy person the stereotype suggested. However, being a maid gave Stephanie a unique perspective on life. As she cleaned the mansions of the wealthy, she began to see past the shiny surfaces. She saw houses filled with expensive items but empty of happiness. She noticed pill bottles for depression and anxiety in almost every bathroom. She saw couples who slept in separate rooms and families who seemed disconnected. She realized that having a big house and a fancy car didn't guarantee a good life. This realization helped her value the small things she did have: her health, her daughter's laughter, and the freedom of being away from her abuser. Her relationship with Mia became her anchor. Even though they lived in a moldy apartment that made them both sick, and Mia had to go to a low-quality daycare, they had each other. Stephanie found joy in the simple moments, like taking Mia for ice cream or reading to her at night. She stopped comparing her life to the wealthy clients she served and started focusing on what home truly meant. For her, home wasn't a giant building. It was a place of safety and love. This shift in mindset gave her the strength to keep her writing dream alive, even when she was too tired to hold a pen. After 5 years of struggling in Washington, a door finally opened. Through a nonprofit that helps survivors of domestic violence, Stephanie learned that she didn't need her ex-partner's permission to move away. She also received a small scholarship for her education. This was the turning point she had been waiting for. For the first time in years, she took a vacation and visited Missoula. The moment she arrived, she felt a sense of belonging. The people were down to earth, the atmosphere was creative, and she saw a future for herself and Mia. The story ends with a powerful image of Stephanie and Mia hiking up a mountain overlooking Missoula. As they looked down at the university below, Stephanie knew she had finally made it. She had climbed a literal mountain, but she had also climbed a mountain of debt, shame, and exhaustion. A few years later, she achieved her goal of earning a degree in English and creative writing. Her journey shows that while the system is often broken and poverty is incredibly hard to escape, the human spirit is resilient. She went from cleaning houses to writing a book that would be read by millions, proving that everyone's story deserves to be heard. At Winkist, we see this story as a reminder to look at people with more compassion. Stephanie Land wasn't looking for a handout, she was looking for a way up. Her memoir serves as a voice for the millions of people working invisible jobs, reminding us that there is dignity in all work and hope in every struggle. By the time she stood at the top of that mountain in Montana, she wasn't just a maid or a single mother. She was a writer who had reclaimed her life.